our 2026 TPT roadmap. Can you believe it? It's almost 2026. I hope you are having a lovely Christmas season. Whether you decide to take a break, work, it's your store, okay? It always comes down to this is your store. If you want to treat it like a business, treat it like a business. Anyways, if you are new, returning, welcome. Here at It's All Primary, we talk teacher side hustles. And this year, it's only going to be about TPT. My goal for you is to help you build your store this year, okay? And I've got some very specific things that I highly recommend. I've been doing them myself some of them since the early fall, some of them earlier, but we're kind of putting them all together. I had a long chat with ChatGPT probably 2 months ago, I guess, and we're still tweaking. But some of these are my ideas, and some of these are ChatGPT's ideas. And I think what we got is a pretty solid strategy. Uploading more TPT products does not guarantee growth on TPT. Let me just say that. And I think I've said it. It doesn't work on TPT. It doesn't work anywhere. I know people that have hundreds and hundreds more YouTube videos than me, and they're not even monetized. So it's not about quantity. It's about quality. But it's not just quality. It's more than that, right? We need to hone in on what it is that's going to grow your store. So why do you need a strategy? You actually have been doing a strategy. You may just not realize you've been doing a strategy. For example, I overheard, I was kind of reading in on a conversation between a couple TPT sellers on a Facebook group, and one of them was saying, I need a strategy. And the other one says, I don't even have a strategy. And I'm thinking, that's actually a strategy. Your strategy is what you're going to do. Your strategy could be something like, I'm going to upload 50 products. Your strategy could be, I'm going to do nothing. Those are all strategies. Those aren't good strategies, but they're still strategies. TPT, if you attend any of the town hall meetings or just listen to the recaps, is experiencing changes. Instagram is going through changes. TikTok, YouTube, all of these things are going through changes. It's part of our economy. It's part of our education world. It's just the way things are, which means it's more important now than ever to have a solid strategy to help you grow. Let me just give you the reality check. Uploading doesn't equal you're going to be seen. Search results are more competitive. There are more TPT sellers than ever right now, and some of them are very strategic. Even notice now that there are established sellers. They're repackaging, they're rebundling, like they've got plans. So how do you compete with that? Because even though we're not in direct competition, there is competition out there. One of the things a strategy can do for you is it can stop you from guessing what to do next. It can give you direction, it can give you consistency, it can even create momentum for yourself. Last year, might even been the year before, I talked about a book called Superfans by Pat Flynn. I'll put a picture right here. And I'll have a link in my Amazon storefront. So Pat Flynn talks about all you need is 1,000 loyal fans. Okay, and in our case, we want 1,000 loyal buyers. We need the repeat buyers. That is what's going to grow your store. The one-offs are lovely, but they aren't going to grow your store. Not in a larger scale. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about growing your store in a larger scale, not necessarily physically in size, but as far as market. So you are looking to build towards 1,000 loyal fans, buyers who will trust your store because it will solve their ongoing classroom problems. So your guiding question is, what do your ideal teachers need all year, not just once. So our goal this year is to build a store that attracts loyal fans instead of one-time shoppers. Strategy will bring clarity. Using your data, you are going to determine 3 at the most, 2 or 3 pillars for your store. This is nothing original, okay? When I was learning about YouTube and niches, and I've talked about this before, it's the Venn diagram, okay? I wish I had a nice whiteboard behind me. I have a board. I just don't know where it is. We're going to make a Venn diagram, okay? Oh, good, they work. When it comes to building any business, you've got all the things that you want to do. Let's call this your passions. All your passions go over here. And then you've got what is profitable all over here. Your sweet spot right there. That's your pillar. What often happens is teachers want to make whatever they're passionate about, whether that be high school science, music, crafts, whatever it is, okay? But it might not necessarily be profitable. The most saturated niche currently on Teachers Pay Teachers is K-2 math. Unfortunately, that was my passion, but it's not profitable. It's not profitable right now. Niches that are very popular right now are, like I said, ELA, high school, music, speech and language. Okay, you've got all these different ones over here, but they may not necessarily be your passion. This is what you've got to find out. And for some people, it might be easier to come up with 3 possibilities as opposed to 1 possibility. This is why you got to look at your data. What are people looking at? Not necessarily buying, but what are they looking at? What products on your store are getting eyes? I do K-2 ELA. It's not as profitable as this one. I could possibly move that one in there. That's one possible pillar. There is some profitability to K-2, but I have to be creative. Okay, so that's a possible one. SEL has some profitability. Social studies. Okay, I do K-2 social studies. Okay, that one has some profitability as part of SEL, so I could swing that one in there too. This is what you have to establish. Now, if your store is already established, say, as a music, then what type of music? Break it down even further. So what's really selling when it comes to music on Teachers Pay Teachers? Rhythm games, readers theater, mini concerts, like what's actually selling? And I'm not a music teacher, so it's not something I have looked up, but I can, right? But that's what I mean. It's not that hard to look it up. Okay, we got to look at our stores objectively and to find out what we are enjoying making, creating, and where's the profitability of it? Or is there no profitability in it? And because there are lots of things selling on TPT, but they're not selling. Right? So you've got to do this. You've got to play with this. So write it out. Like I said, take your data and establish your 2 to 3 pillars. That's number 1. Because once you know your pillars, you can set yourself up to create a cohesive store, which is number 2. Why do we want a cohesive store? People can navigate through it better. We don't want people looking at your store wondering if you're even in it. And what are signs to show that you are not in it? You haven't changed any covers or banners lately. You have not changed your featured items lately. Q&As go unanswered. reviews go unanswered. Is someone home? What cohesive store means is you've got clear branding, clear categories along the left-hand side of your store, visible pricing tiers. You're going to try and create an intuitive buyer journey. We'll talk about this in a later video. And you've got helpful banners and collections available. If a teacher buys once but can't find their next resource, they won't return, or it's highly unlikely they're going to return. We'll walk through that one in a future video. Number 3, you need a strategic, product creation. We talked about this last week. Your resources are going to center around your pillars. You are going to have resources that are in what's called the mid-tier pricing, because that's your sweet spot for more earnings. These resources are going to support curriculum. So you are going to have what learning outcomes that they are compatible with, and truly compatible with. Not, they can meet that need. No, they will totally meet that resource outcome. And if you remember from last week, I talked about looking at the unfinished products, and then you're going to look at seasonal products last. I'm not saying avoid them. I think you can still do them, but they may not be your high money makers. A lot of times these are $1, $2 products for many people. Again, we're looking to service the teacher all year. This is why your data and your inventory are important, because now we're taking your data and your inventory and moving forward with them. And the last one is that you need to create a schedule, and then you need to put a barricade around it. What do I mean by that? We are not protecting our business time. We are treating this as a hobby. I am treating this as a hobby. I do it when I feel like it. If businesses ran that way in real life, we'd be in trouble. Our stores would never be open because they didn't feel like being there. Do you know how many times I've gone to a kiosk and they'll say back in 10 minutes? I leave. I might come back, but there's a high chance I don't. And I appreciate that they've got to go on a break and whatever, but it's dangerous. One of my chats with ChatGPT is, how long would it take me to properly do this? That's always an it depends question. If you want to make a mid-tiered resource, now this is what I would call a medium, so medium size resource. How long would it take you to make that resource? In my mind, I'm thinking 20, 30 hours. So I've got that in the back of my mind. If it takes me 20 to 30 hours to make a decent size resource, do I want to upload that new resource every month? Every other month? You have to decide. If you've got 20 to 30 hours to work on your business, are you going to work every 20 to 30 hours, every single hour on just product creation? No. These all take some time. But do you have to do it every single day? No, of course not. And you don't even, some of them you won't have to, you'll have to look at them at least every week, but you don't have to do it every day. So you need to create for yourself a realistic time. Call it your office hours or your business hours. And then it's etched in stone, at least for your first 12 weeks. As I've mentioned before, I do a lot of things based on the 12-week year. And what I will show you in a future video is I took my first, so out of your 12 weeks, you're going to do the 12 weeks. So everything is planned around basically 90 days. The great thing about 12 weeks is it's actually 1 week less than a full season. Most people put in their quarters based on 13 weeks. But what I like to do is I like to do the 12 weeks, and then that 13th week is either a holiday or it's a planning week. a reassessment of how, reflection of how I did for those 12 weeks. And I can make easier pivots if I'm doing things based on 12 weeks as opposed to a full year program. If you notice, I never said year, right? We are going to do this for the whole year, but we're going to do it in 12-week increments. And I'm going to break it down even farther. I'm going to have 3 4-week timetable. I'm going to create plans around this. So basically, I'm doing a month plan 3 times in my 12 weeks. And what's nice about this is I make the first plan, and then I build on it the next month, and I build on it the next month, and then I stop because it's now week 13, and I assess, okay, how did I do? Give myself a report card. B, C, right? A minus. What did I do? 4 weeks for most of us, we can see 4 weeks. If something happens, it's easier to reset as opposed to having this big lofty year plan. This is doable. This is really doable. If you want business results, treat it like a business. And you have to remember that if you don't protect your time, it will get absorbed by other things in your life. That's just a fact. If you've got family, you've got to sit down with your spouse and, even the kids maybe, depending on their age, and let them know that this is your business. And you can even call it a family business. Whatever will work for you. If you've got commitments outside of it, teaching, tutoring, whatever it is, anything else, you've got to put everything around the business. If the business is the priority. If the business is not the priority, let's say for now your teaching is your priority, then you block out, you take your calendar and you block your times for teaching and prep and planning and all those things, and then you put your business in. You've got to protect it, barricade it, and this is it. This is it. And what we're going to do for upcoming videos is we're going to actually spend 1 week just dealing with each of these 4. So we're going to dive deeper into them. And I'm going to give you some more strategies. Okay. Strategy is the word for 2026. Growth is the word. All right. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you and your family are staying safe, being healthy, and we'll catch you in that video or the playlist. See ya.